Mr. Kanwal Sibal, former Foreign Secretary, is continuing with us. Bill Drexel is joining us on the show. He's a senior fellow at the Hudson Institute. But I want to come across to Mr. Sibal first. Mr. Sibal, the Prime Minister himself going personally to receive President Putin. Now, this is something that does not happen on a regular basis. It's a rare honor that's only reserved for very few world leaders. Mr. Sibal.
I think this is an extremely gracious gesture that has been made by Prime Minister, and it has multiple reasons behind this. One, of course, is to mark the fact that Prime Minister attaches a lot of importance to our relationship with Russia. He's willing to break protocol, not treat it as a normal summit, because even in the past summits he's not gone to the airport to receive it. But in the context of global geopolitics, and the turbulence that we see and the tensions that have developed in relations between India and the West, there is a message in this, that no matter what pressure you want to put on me, on India, whatever your reservations may be about Russia, whatever your concerns about Russia, we have a very different optic towards Russia. It's a long-standing relationship in which we will like to continue to invest. And we are sending you a very clear message that we will treat him with more than full honors. Remember, he's been declared a war criminal by an engineered judgment by the International Criminal Court. And here, the Prime Minister is going out of the way to give him honor. I think it is a very sensible diplomatic move, which will pay us dividends, because even though President Putin is hard-nosed, very realistic, but he'll understand the thought behind this gesture.
Right. Let me bring in Bill Drexel on that note. Bill Drexel, somewhere down the way, when we look at what has happened over the last 6 months, one, of course, the imposition of the tariffs, then the kind of extremely undiplomatic statements that we saw coming in from several top functionaries, including Mr. Navarro, there, somewhere or the other, is there been, a lack of understanding of, other countries and other friendly nations such as India's own positions and own diplomatic compulsions and pulls and pressures, while the US wanted India to take certain positions? Because at the end of the day, the sense that we're getting here in India is that somewhere that US has not been able to, accommodate or take in its stride what India's own compulsions are, and that's why you're seeing so much of disconnect that's happened on the issue of trade, on the kind of pressure that has been sought to be put upon India, but India clearly is not going to cow down to that. Bill Drexel.
Yeah, I think there's definitely a sense that this administration, the second Trump administration, even relative to the first, has fewer India experts, fewer people who get an intuitive sense of India's sensitivities and motivations and interests with the ear of the president. So we've seen this in a number of occasions, but it's also true that, this administration is approaching American grand strategy very differently from prior administrations. And so some of these collisions were predictable. For example, rebalancing trade has been this administration's primary focus. And with that, it was, that's been a enduring sore spot between U.S.-India relations for a long time. So it was predictable that that would lead to some sort of collision. But I think you're right that there are sensitivities related to Indian political culture that have not been taken into account that should have, and that represent lost opportunities. Now with this, Modi is certainly going out of his way. Prime Minister Modi is going out of his way to welcome Putin with open arms. We're likely to see bear hugs and so on. He wants to emphasize India's strategic autonomy, its multi-alignment, at a time when the United States has a very fraught relationship with Russia, and indeed the international community does as it pursues its war of conquest in Ukraine. So I think Prime Minister Modi is walking a particular line. It's a dangerous, it's a difficult balance to strike, and we'll see where he lands on what he wants to signal.
All right, I'm sorry I have to interrupt you there, Bill. There are pictures coming in live from the Palam technical area of the New Delhi airport, where in fact we have pictures of soldiers marching towards the aircraft of Russian President Putin. Srinjoy is with us. Srinjoy, this is official protocol that is of course be given at the highest level, with the Prime Minister himself, who's there to receive Russian President Putin. Take us through what we are likely to see unfold before our eyes over the next few minutes. Srinjoy.
Well, the fact that President Putin is being received by the Prime Minister himself is a big moment. It's a clear indication of the trust the two leaders have between themselves. That's really the first thing. Secondly, as you know, the two leaders will repair to the Prime Minister's residence. And there, along with a few other key officials on both sides, External Affairs Minister Jaishankar, National Security Advisor Ajit Doval, people and the Russian counterparts, Rajnath Singh, Defense Minister, there will be a close dinner, a dinner, just a few people, where the basic issues will be discussed. Ukraine may come up, bilateral issues may come up, and all the other things that we've been talking about. The two sides will look at the world from their points of view. The two sides will look at the bilateral relationship. And then, of course, tomorrow is the delegation level talks. These are the main things on the agenda.
Right. At today's private dinner, in fact, let me take this across to Mr. Kanwal Sibal. Do we expect this dinner to be a more, given the fact that it's a private dinner, the non-official part, the two leaders, of course, share a great relationship. They've met over a dozen times at different locations, at different visits that have happened, not just in each other's countries, but as you rightly mentioned, at Tianjin and other locations. Are these sort of dinners really working dinners in that sense, or do you expect it to be more unofficial in terms of just the personal interaction between the two leaders? Kanwal Sibal, how do you look at this?
Like that. After all, he's going to have the foreign minister and the national security advisor and the defense minister with him. So they're going to talk substance. They're not going to waste time. It's a very short visit. There will be this interaction. And then tomorrow they will have the principals that will have talks with each other, the delegation level talks. So they will not miss any opportunity to go into depth on various issues, bilateral, of course, but also international, regional. Ukraine will definitely figure because, as you know, Prime Minister has been in constant touch with Putin on this subject, and Putin has been briefing him.